WNST, Towson, Baltimore, and WNST.net. The season is finally about to begin here. I'll know this when the motorcade pulls in with the Buffalo Bills here this weekend. All of our WNST coverage brought to you by our friends at Sporticulture. The flowers around me here on the WNST.net set, including the Buffalo Bills, can be yours out on the internet. A click away at Sporticulture.com. That's local. My pal Court, this is his company right out on the west side of town. They send them anywhere and everywhere. They also have the Terps flower, and the Terps flower is particularly in bloom here after the victory over Texas. It's also brought to you by our friends at Al's Seafood. Been getting the crabs and the crab cakes down there since the 1970s, the oldest crab house in Baltimore. Steaming them up. I had some shrimp from a shrimp and grits from Chad the Crab Man down there. Now doing the crab feast and the catering in the off-season here as well. Al's Seafood in Essex. Stu Boyar has been doing the Bills and Buffalo and the Sabres and all the Western New York comings and goings for a long, long time. He is a sportscaster at WGRZ. You can also find him out on Twitter. We don't get together too often. I always love my trips up to Buffalo and up to the former Rich Stadium in Orchard Park and all that goodness up there. But we'll see you guys coming down here to start the season. And Peterman, right? I mean, this is, boy, in Baltimore, we're thinking we better win this one. But, I guess there's some optimism in Western New York, right, Stu?
Nestor, there's always optimism in Western New York. This is the most optimistic place on the planet. Not that I've been to so many places, but we are very optimistic up here by nature, which may surprise some people. It may also surprise some people that we have warm, hot, and humid weather in the summertime, too. Our summers are beautiful.
Look, man, when it snows, you make snowballs and snowmen. You get and you ski. I got a lot of hardy people up there in Cheektowaga and Depew and, all those great areas up there. So I know all the hardy people in Amherst up there.
There you go. Yeah, I like to think of us as hardy, and I think Coach Sean McDermott made a really interesting decision. It's not one that I would have necessarily made, but he made it, and now I guess all of Western New York will unite behind Nathan Peterman and hope that they can go down there and find a way to beat the Ravens.
Look, I'm having everybody on this week from your marketplace, right? From, the Taskers and the Kelsos and Murph and everybody. And, I've been going up there for 30 years. I mean, I go back to, I was there when they were beating the snot out of the Art Shell, Jay Schrader Raider. I was at that crazy game before the day. So, I mean, I was up there for Oiler beatdowns because I was an Oiler fan. And, I have such an affinity. And I think for all the strangeness of the modern era, right, whether it was the Rex and the Schwartz thing and before that and the Syracuse coach and not so much and the strangeness of, Bon Jovi's going to buy the place and move it to Toronto, and then that doesn't happen. And, I just wonder, like, at the heart of all of it, I pray for all of you that at some point you can win 12 or 13 games again. But we helped you last year, right? We got you into the playoffs, right?
Well, yes, you did, although I certainly don't think it was quite your intention to do it. But, yeah, you should have seen the scene around here when I hate to bring it up to your listeners because I'm sure most of them are Ravens fans. But
it's over. It was last year. As long as we win this week, we don't have hard feelings around here, Stu.
Well, that's good to know because there was a ton of excitement around here. People were going absolutely crazy. They were so excited, and it felt so good for this team to be back in the playoffs after the long, long drought. So the Ravens and the Bengals game will never, ever be forgotten around here. It's become part of Bill's lore.
When you don't have much to hang on to, I remember before the Orioles had gone on their little tear and won, they eliminated the Red Sox one night late in September by this miraculous comeback, and it was like the fans were hanging on to it, even though but you guys got in and made some noise. And look, no bigger Tyrod fan than or Tyrod, however we're going to pronounce it. I've been calling him Tyrod for a decade. But watching Hard Knocks and watching that kind of guy leave, now this sort of quarterback sort of carousel thing where a guy like this lands where it's hard for anybody to think they're going to win 12 games with this guy quarterbacking. But we said that about Kurt Warner at one point, right? I mean, they said that about Case Keenum at one point. So they said that about Nick Foles, right? That he wasn't going to win a Super Bowl. So I'm not here to be that guy, but make a case for what has gone on here since making the playoffs that somehow this year can be a step forward.
Well, man, could it be a step forward? Well, I like what the coach and the GM have done. They're creating a culture that they're building. I think, believe it or not, it was actually on display in the last preseason game when Jay McCarron, since traded to the Raiders, brought the team back after he had an abysmal first half, and somehow he got 3 touchdowns. He threw 3 touchdown passes, ran for a 4th one. And just watching that team on the sidelines, it was like, holy cow, they acted like they just won a Super Bowl. That's how excited they were. And even though they knew most of the guys who played that night weren't going to be on the team, it was like, wow, these guys genuinely care for each other. So I think they've created that. I don't know if it can be a step forward because let's say that Tyrod Taylor wasn't the greatest quarterback. He didn't take any risks. He didn't really throw the ball downfield, but he didn't turn it over either. Now, is there a chance that they turn the ball over more this year? I would say that's likely. Defensively, they lived, especially in the first half, on turnovers. I don't know if they're going to be any better. If you go by the preseason, now they were without Trent Murphy and without Kyle Williams.
Sounds like our team when you say go by the preseason. We can't do anything by the preseason, can we?
No,
I mean, when
really
you're missing
can't.
2, 3, 4 players, I mean, we no Yonda, no Suggs. It's just a different game, right? I mean, I don't think we judge anybody till the whistle blows this week. We can't.
Yeah, no, I'm with you there. It's a very difficult case to make that they could take a step forward. I really, as much as I hate to say it, I don't see that happening. I'd love to see it. I'd love to say Nathan Peterman turns into the second coming of Jim Kelly, and they go on a run to the Super Bowl. I'm in the Josh Allen camp. You acquired assets, and you traded up to get your guy to become your franchise quarterback. And I think that's the guy I want to see out there. He's physically gifted. He's got a phenomenal arm, big, strong, tall kid, and he can make throws that the other players can't make. But they decided to wait. And my thinking is, the sooner you get Josh Allen out there, the sooner he turns into that franchise quarterback that you drafted him to be. So, as well as Nathan Peterman played in the preseason, it's not like Josh Allen is sitting behind Jim Kelly, because he's not. So, in that sense, I wish that Sean McDermott had named Josh Allen the starting quarterback. How it plays out remains to be seen. But what I don't want to have him do is waste a whole year of development for Josh Allen, because let's face it, they have a 5th-round draft pick invested in Nathan Peterman and a lot more in Josh Allen, and that has to count for something. And, yeah, I get it. I hear people saying, well, the offensive line isn't very good. You don't want to get him killed. Well, it's football. You're going to get hit. Hopefully you don't get hurt, but you are going to get hit. And, other quarterbacks drafted high. Peyton Manning, what did he have, 26, 28 interceptions his first year? He turned out okay.
Yeah, Aikman got beaten up. I mean, there's a long history of guys getting beaten up. There's also a history of David Carr's and name any Browns quarterback, pick any one, pick a whole bunch of Bills quarterbacks, I guess, over the course of time, because you guys, much like here with Brian Billick, who's our partner here on behalf of the Living Classrooms Foundation, when you don't have a quarterback, you can't win for long stretches, and when you have 2 or 3 quarterbacks and you're dealing quarterbacks in late August or Labor Day weekend, you probably don't have a quarterback, but you step out, you make that pick, and then there's that delicate balance of when does that guy get on the field. Look, we got a guy we drafted for late into the night in the first round that everybody thought was going to speed in front of Joe Flacco, and it hasn't really worked out that way here during the preseason with a healthy guy who's won a Super Bowl around here. So there's certainly not that in front of anybody in Buffalo, but I'm a little shocked they're not going with the young guy, especially when, to your point, expectations amongst the Bills fans are, let's just get this guy better, and maybe one day we'll win 10 games. One day we'll make the playoffs. But I don't think Bills fans are canceling their plans to Florida in January right now. I don't think Bills fans believe they're going to be a playoff team.
No, although this is like I said, this is a very optimistic group. I don't think they'll do it. I'm looking at maybe 6 wins. But, hey, if Nathan Peterman goes in there and goes off and plays lights out, well, it could happen in this league, and it'd be great for him. It'd be great for the city. But did you really draft a guy 7th overall to keep him on the bench? And okay, I get it. The Bengals game, Josh Allen struggled. He got no protection from the offensive line. I liked his attitude afterward. I have to get the ball out quicker. I have to do this. I have to read the defense faster. The whole 9 yards. But every snap he takes, he gets better at that. I think he's come a long way because he's had great coaching and he's responded to it. He's come along. His footwork has gotten better. The coaching has been great. He's been receptive to it. And if you go back and look at what he was when he first got here to compare to where he is now, he's made giant leaps forward. So I go back and keep saying it. The more snaps he gets and the sooner he gets those snaps, the better off we're all going to be.
Stu Boyar is here. You can find him out on Twitter at Stu Boyar. That's Boyar. You can also find him out at WGRZ up in the great municipality of Buffalo, where I have visited many, many times. All of our WNST programming brought to you by our friends at the Model Lyric. Check out the website. John Cusack in the screening of Say Anything coming up next week on September 15th. Love that movie back in the day. Steely Dan, October 11th, in time for my 50th birthday, as well as Dust in the Wind and Carry On My Wayward Son and the great Kansas Band on November 24th. I sat down with David Ragsdale from the band Kansas. You can find that out in the buyatoyota.com audio vault. Also, 2 Bill Burr shows coming up after my birthday in October. If you love comedy, there's magic at the Model Lyric. Learn more at model-lyric.com. Also brought to you by our friends at Pizza John's, my mom's favorite, my wife's favorite pizza. And I've been getting the cheesesteaks there. They're phenomenal. The provolone, little fried onion, mushroom, just the way my mom loved them down there in Essex. 50 years they've been doing it at Back River Neck Road. I'm drinking out of the Pizza John's cup. I'm also surrounded by these sporticulture flowers, the Bills flower, the Ravens flower, the Terps who are 1-0. And congratulations to those kids, by the way, playing well as well. Learn more at sporticulture.com. Stu's here from up in Buffalo and trying to make heads or tails. When are we going to finally find out all the things the Patriots have been doing to cheat all these years? When are we going to break that band up? I mean, I don't know whether to believe all the palace intrigue, but certainly if I were a Bills fan, if I were a Dolphins fan, if I were a Jets fan, I'd be hanging on the soap opera up there breaking up Belichick and Brady, because whatever deer antler spray and avocado ice cream and special magic sauce that, he's got going on up there, this can't last forever, right? Really?
Well, I'm with you. In fact, I said one night, I said, it's only a matter of time, because now the Jets and the Bills both have their future franchise quarterbacks on their rosters. And I said just what you said. Tom Brady can't play forever. And to the best of my knowledge, the Patriots do not have, well, first of all, they'll never, ever get another Tom Brady. It'll just never happen. But
well, I hope Garoppolo wins 10 championships out in San Francisco.
Yeah, there you go. But, to the best of my knowledge, they don't have Tom Brady's quote-unquote replacement on the roster. So, the sooner that band breaks up in New England, the happier everybody else will be, except for Patriot fans. And let's face it, we really don't care about Patriot fans. We've had enough of them. And so, I say slowly but surely the changing of the guard is happening in the AFC East. Unfortunately for the Dolphins fans, I don't think they're going anywhere with Ryan Tannehill, but maybe he'll prove me wrong too. So the end of that group can't be that far along. I mean, this run has gone on forever, and it's kind of ridiculous already. Enough already.
Well, I think you guys had some fun last year and having a taste of the playoffs, certainly for the fan base and for the ownership and for trying to find some credibility, and now to have a quarterback that there can be some credibility behind and a coach that there's going to be some credibility behind as well. It's a far cry from Rex, right? I mean, this has been a sort of a little bit of a rocky road with the Pettins and the Schwartzes running defenses and, coaches in, coaches out, ownership. I mean, it's been a crazy time, I think, for the Bills. And I think at this point you at least say, well, the coach and the quarterback feel a little married for the next 2 or 3 years, that there's going to be a little bit of a leash here, that the coaches are going to say or do something stupid to get himself fired, right?
Well, I think Sean McDermott's brought a lot of stability. Yes, he did change offensive coordinators, but bringing in Brian Daboll has been like a breath of fresh air as opposed to whatever it was that Rick Dennison was doing last year. I mean, if you go back to that playoff game against Jacksonville when all the things that Rick Dennison did that didn't work were on display and, put Brian Daboll in that game, well, my guess is the Bills would score more than 3 points and have a pretty good shot at winning that game or whatever. I don't even remember the score. Was it 10-3? So if it was a Brian Daboll offense, it wouldn't have been nearly as stodgy. It would have been more creative. And I certainly think if they wouldn't have won that game, it would have been a vastly different game. But I do think Sean McDermott has brought a bunch of stability to the coaching staff, to the organization. And his favorite phrase is you have to trust the process and you have to earn the right to do this and that. And I get all those things. And compared to what Rex Ryan, it's just like night and day. So the belief is, and I think this is true, and I like Brandon Beane, the GM, too, the organization is on the right track. They've got the train on the track, and it's moving along in a steady, if not a spectacular fashion, but a steady fashion. So this year they drafted their quarterback, and we'll see what they get next year. They could use help on the offensive line and wide receiver, and maybe the defensive line too, or linebacker. But every team has holes; they're all flawed. But at least this one, you have the feeling and the faith that they've got a plan and they're putting it into motion. And nobody expects them to be Super Bowl champions overnight. You expect them to build the team and do it the right way. And it seems like they've got a good start in that process. And last year, I think, I'm sure they would never say it, but I don't think the organization expected to be in the playoffs last year either. So that would told them they were a little further ahead in the process than maybe they thought. So it'll be quite a challenge for them to take another step forward in the process this year.
Stu, in your mind, what has to happen to get Allen onto the field? And if they gave you $1 right now and said put it down on a week this year or sort of something that would be the difference maker. Hey, look, man, Peterman has gone out and stunk worse than anybody's ever stunk, right? Like sort of a punchline thing. I don't know that at halftime, if the score is 21-3, and this is a pretty nasty defense, you're coming into this week that you wouldn't see him hustle at and, under center. I don't know when that thing happens or what, those of you that observe this when that happens. I don't think we're thinking about that in Baltimore. I don't. The only way Lamar Jackson goes out to me is if Joe gets hurt, because I don't think Joe's going to so underperform. Joe's going to give them the best chance to win snap after snap this year, as long as he's healthy.
Well, if Nathan Peterman gets hurt, then you'll see Josh Allen. I doubt that Sean McDermott would yank him if it's like, say, 21-3 Ravens at halftime. I think he'd have to be really bad. The conventional wisdom is that they're concerned, and I don't buy into this at all. They're concerned because they've got a tough start to the schedule. I mean, they're at Baltimore, they come home for the Chargers, then they go to Minnesota and Green Bay. Ooh. And they're really concerned about the rookie facing those defenses. And I'm sitting there thinking, well, it's funny because nobody seems concerned about Nathan Peterman because he's got the same offensive line. I think it would most likely be an injury, or they reach a point where in their minds, you know what, we're 0-12, we're not making the playoffs. And then you'll see Josh Allen. So, if they start the season 0-4, 5, or 6, then we'll see. But I don't expect that to happen, believe it or not.
Well, Minnesota and Green Bay, wow, right? I mean, out of the gate. Hey, look, the Ravens have the same thing. We have Cleveland, Pittsburgh, Cincinnati, all out of the gate, all on the road, and doing 2 of those without Jimmy Smith. I mean, a lot of this is about who's playing where and when and how. I mean, look at what Garoppolo meant to the 49ers last year, and a player or two makes a big difference. And who you're playing and when, you're certainly stacking those games up, doing the Bills no favors, have to go and play those games.
No, not at all. But then again, if Josh Allen is in there and he faces the Vikings and the Packers, that's a pretty fast growth spurt, don't you think? Because you better figure out stuff fast. And you want to learn to get the ball, read the defense, or get rid of the ball faster. Well, if you don't want to get killed, you might want to pick it up against those defenses, or the Ravens for that matter.
Hey, man, always a pleasure to visit. Go ahead, wrap up. I thought you were done.
No. I was just saying. Back in the day, it was okay for quarterbacks to come in and sit behind somebody. Even as recent as Aaron Rodgers sitting behind Brett Favre, and I get that because that's Brett Favre. He's in the Pro Football Hall of Fame, and he was going. Well, if he's not in, he will be. And again, I don't want to knock Nathan Peterman, but he's not in the Pro Football Hall of Fame. So you've got your 7th overall draft pick sitting behind this guy. And I get it. The coach said he earned it. He outplayed him in the preseason. I get all that. But you've got a guy who's supposed to be the next guy. Well, let him be that guy and start as soon as you can. That's my take on it.
Stu, take care of yourself, man. Always a pleasure to reach out to all the friends up in Buffalo and head over to the Anchor Bar, get some beef on weck and all that good stuff for me, and bring down the Bills here. We'll play a little football, and it brings back lots of memories. Anytime I see the Buffalo Bills running around here of my childhood and, the Juice and Ferguson and all those guys over on 33rd Street. So we bring the Bills in, memories of my pop. What can I say, right?
Well, yes, Nestor, thank you very much for having me on. I appreciate it.
Stu Boyar, you can find him out on Twitter at Stu Boyar. That's STUBOYAR, as well as at WGRZ, where he's been a sportscaster for a long, long time. You can find me out on Twitter, Facebook, LinkedIn, Snapchat, anywhere the internet travels, including the buyatoyota.com audio vault 24 hours a day from anywhere in the world. Download podcast. Listen to when you want, what you want, where you want. No static at all. Just like our friends in Steely Dan and FM who are coming to the Modell Lyric for my birthday. I'm looking forward to that. Fremont Mortgage is here. Don't make a 30-year mistake by choosing the wrong lender. You need Fremont Mortgage and their education online. Buying, selling, thinking about it. Learn more at Fremont. You want to do that up there, as well as getting ready for the Harrisburg Heat. And the Healy family, we've had them all on. Pat, Kevin, everybody. I have Carl on this week to get ready for football season as well. Also brought to you by our friends at Michael's Cafe. The crab cakes, the split-level soup, the bands and live music on Friday nights out on the deck, and the beautiful outdoor patio lounge. And, hey, they're coming to White Marsh soon. Let the secret out. Michael's Cafe now at York and Timonium, celebrating 34 years and opening soon off 43 in White Marsh. I can't wait to get up there and taste the split-level soup there and those delicious crab cakes. So that'll be great up White Marsh. Nasty at WNST.net finds me. I'm on Facebook, Twitter, LinkedIn, Snapchat, Instagram, streaming live on our Facebook, as well as our YouTube WNSTV channel and our morning newspaper shipping directly to your email inbox each and every morning digitally. Sign up at WNST.net one time every morning at 7 a.m. It comes into your email inbox. All brought to you by Planet Fitness and PlanetFitness.com, where it's always $10 a month to get in the best shape of your life, as well as our friends at the Maryland Jockey Club, where they're back at Laurel. The sports bar's open down there. It's fantastic. Big screens, very Vegas-y. Get down to Laurel if you haven't been there. The DeFrancis Dash, now we're about 5 weeks out on that, as well. 2 weeks out on the DeFrancis Dash, 5 weeks out on the Maryland Million. You can get all of that information up at Laurel Park and on the front of our website at WNST.net. Any breaking news, you get that first on the WNST Tech Service. That's all brought to you by Coons Ford of Security Boulevard. Dennis is going to be here on Thursday. 'Tis the season to get ready for the Buffalo Bills and to get ready for Sunday mornings in the Sunday Sports Voice with Dennis Kolatzis and Coons Ford of Security Boulevard. I'll be on Thursday afternoon right around 4:15. We hope to see you there, and you can follow Dennis all year long and on Twitter at SSV on WNST. I am Nestor. We are WNST.net, AM 1570, and WNST, Dallas and Baltimore. We never stop talking Baltimore sports.